When you buy your first angle grinder, you need first of all to go through the manual, the whole of it, so that you can avoid making mistakes in the future with your grinder that may hurt you or others, or most importantly your pocket. So the grinder has 4 main parts at the front over here. This is the spindle, this is what rotates, this is the disc guard. So on my grinder there's this little raising that you have to align with this notch over there, and then you just tighten it with a screwdriver. Like that. So when I check my user manual over here, I can see that the disc size required for my grinder is 115 millimeters with an M14 nut, but my disc over here does not have a nut, but this has a maximum diameter of 115 millimeters. So this is the right size disc for this grinder. Here we have 2 items. This is what is called a disc clamping nut, and this is a backing washer. On my grinder, the backing washer has these 2 slots that you have to align to the spindle over here. You can see that slot. Usually place it like that. Don't place it opposite, because this must match. And then you place your disc, and then your disc clamping nut. So as for now, you already know you need to press this button, then you take your wrench and you tighten it, and it's ready to go. So this disc over here is 115 by 2 by 22.2. The second 2 denotes the thickness. This is much thinner, so this is a cutting disc. If it was a grinding disc, it will be much thicker. And the rest of the numbers over here, 22.2, denote the inner diameter, where you place it on the backing washer. Same goes here. This is 22.2, like here it's written 22.23 millimeters. So this is the inner diameter. This disc got damaged over here, so it's not safe to use damaged disc. So the best thing you just do, just break them in 2 so that you can prevent an accident in the future. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is the flap disc. This is what is known as a flap disc. A flap disc is just a disc with sandpaper that is glued on it. You can see the glue over here. Over here you can also see that this has a maximum diameter of 115 millimeters, and this does not have the thickness dimensions, but it also has 22.23 millimeters. This is the inner diameter that fits perfectly over there. So the other thing you need to know about grinding and cutting discs is that they usually have an expiry date that's printed on the disc over here. Like this one will expire in August 2019, so I have like 3 more months to use this disc. The damaged disc over here was to expire in 2020, so I would have had much time to use this than this. So another thing you should know about flap discs is that because this is sandpaper, it usually comes with grades. So this here has a number 8 written over here. So this is an 80 grit sandpaper. So this is 80 grit sandpaper, and the higher the number, the smoother and more finer the grains on sandpaper are, because you know sandpaper is just sand that is glued to a paper. So this over here, this is 120 grit sandpaper, and it's much smoother. You can even bend this like this and nothing will happen. This over here is 60 grit sandpaper and it's much coarse. If you try to bend it too much, you are going to break it. You can see the seams over here. So the higher the number, the smoother the sandpaper becomes, and the lower the number, the much coarse and the much bigger the grains are. So when you go to buy your flap disc, just check it with the number. So this is 80 grit sandpaper. This is great for paint removal because I want to do some painting and I need to remove some paint somewhere, so this is what I'll need. But if I need to smoothen, also good for rust removal, but if I need to do some welding in the future, this is what I'm going to use to clean up the welds. This in combination with this, but this will do best. So this is what is called as a wire cap brush. Wire cap brush usually just screw on the top like that. You just need to remove the backing washer and the locking nut. Just screw it because this is a nut, and more importantly, like we did check from our manual, the disc size, we have M14. This is an M14 spindle and this is an M14 nut, written over there, M14. Just screw it over there like that and you are ready to go. So one more important safety thing, I have another disc over here. Make sure you use gloves when you do this kind of jobs. I have another wire cap brush over here. This is also an M14 nut. It fits over here perfectly, but this is not recommended to use over here because there's something else you need to know, and that's the speed. You can see over here, this brush has a maximum speed of 8500 RPM, and this is for a bigger grinder because bigger grinders usually have lower speeds. Our grinder over here has, see, I've already cut myself. Our grinder over here has a speed of 11,500 revolutions per minute, and this over here has a maximum speed of 12,500. So this is safe to use over here. Our flap disc over here has a maximum speed of 13,300 revolutions per minute. So this is also safe to use on this grinder. And our cutting disc over here has a maximum speed of 13,290 RPM. So this is also safe to use here. So remember, safety is the #1 priority. Be safe. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new today, and goodbye. One more last thing, it's very crucial that you use gloves for your hands, eye protection, and the best eye protection you can use is a full face guard, because these metal filings over here usually come flying out. Same goes for this. Even if you're using the flap disc or cutting disc, there's metal filings that usually comes flying out, and it can take out your eye or someone else's eye, or can pierce your skin. So use full protection, use leather gloves as well as full face guard.